Okay, Neil Sugarman, hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much for welcoming us in the studio of Daptone Records. My first question is, you've created the label 14 years ago from nearly nothing, so you literally built it. What were your expectations at the very beginning of this adventure?
Well, we didn't build it from nothing actually, because it was a record label called Desco Records that my partner Gabe owned and I was an artist on, and so he had split up from his former partner, and we actually didn't even think we wanted to start a record label. We thought we would just look around for other labels that would help us, but we were real clear that we wanted to keep all the records together, that we were making. And then nothing really was, we didn't like any of the other labels, the records on any of the labels, so, and we're just like, hey, let's just do it ourselves. And but we had the distribution, the contacts from Desco. So that's what we started with, and Sharon Jones hadn't made a record yet, but the Sugarman 3 had already made 2 records under another record label. So when you start making those calls, they already know who we are. But I had no big expectations. Honestly, I just thought, something to do.
Okay. And when you bought this house, everybody was really involved in the creation of the label. And do you consider it as an ingredient of your very specific sound?
I'd say yes. Most of the records are recorded here, and it's, it's the studio and the musicians that play on the studio, and most of the musicians that are playing still on many of the records have been playing with us from the very beginning. So it's a very warm, dark sounding studio.
As regards the artists you signed, it seems like their story and their soul are very important to you. Do you think an artist sounds like he lived in a manner?
I'm assuming you're talking probably about Charles Bradley. One of the things to be clear is that, most of the artists that we sign are New York based. So we met Charles, and someone had referred him to us, and we went and saw some of the concerts, and he was mostly just doing a James Brown impersonator. But he had such an amazing tone to his voice, so we just started using him on recording sessions. And it really wasn't until the first one being in 2002 or something, 2001, and on the Sugarman 3 record, and it wasn't until several years after that that we put out his own records. But his story we didn't know as much about his story other than we really liked him, and and that's a real important part of it. It's like, to deal with an artist, you can't, you don't want to sign some artist and not know that they're people I want to work with every day and support and can get behind with, personally. So it took a while before we made that record, but by the time we made that record, we were very clear this is someone that we want to be with and talk about and listen to and have a future with in a relationship.
So you would say that the artists and Daptone is like a kind of family?
Yeah, it's family and friends, they're all local, and, we don't have that many artists. It's not like a label that's signing new bands all the time, but everyone lives close by and everyone can relate to each other, and it's real important. I would rather sign, there may be some great artists, but if I can't get along with them, we won't put their record out.
The Dap Kings build the foundations of the Daptone sound. They've been spending a lot of time in the studio, and their sound impregnated the walls like the Funky Brothers did at their time. Was it a part of the project, or did it happen just naturally, as you said?
Same thing, it happened real naturally. We always knew that this was a special group of musicians that were real talented and capable of doing many different types of music, but it made sense, as that people would hear the band and start to come in and use the band for outside records. So again, it wasn't an intentional thing, but it was a good thing, and it makes sense.
And yeah, at a time when the music industry is collapsing and reinventing itself every day, do you think your approach was to get back to basis by relying on something as soulful and sincere as your soul music?
Well, I mean, first of all, that Gabe and I are both musicians first, so we're really looking for an outlet a platform for us to make our own music, and that was how it started. And that's definitely the kind of music we like, and much like Desco, I knew what kind of records Gabe was putting out, and it was much like you say. We were just wanting to put this soul music out and make records like the records that we liked, and it didn't really matter if people liked them or not. If they didn't, then we wouldn't have made as many because we wouldn't have been able to afford to make as many. But I don't think we were like, let's start a record label and see what kind of music works. It was really clearly based around soul music and music we love, and making records that we like to look at and would hopefully like to listen to if we were fans.
Okay. So making the sound you like is your business plan.
Definitely.
And it works.
Yeah.
Okay, it's mainly 45s, or you also work on
the LP. I mean, we do a lot of 45s, but the LPs are really what drives the business.
Okay. Thank you very much. We always ask a very specific question for Le Limonadier to each artist and a label we interview. What is your favorite cocktail or drink?
Margarita.
Good choice. Okay,
Yeah.
no story in particular.
I mean, it's just an unbelievable drink that makes you feel so good. Although we were just in Brazil 2 weeks ago with Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, and a caipirinha is like a close second.
Okay, and I see a Jameson bottle just behind.
Yeah, that might be. If you'd ask Gabe, that would be his choice.